This is Immortal from the Guardians of the Globe, and you're listening to the Invincible podcast with Bill, Ryan, Wyatt, and TJ.
What's up, and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends get together to talk all things Invincible, which is a comic book and animated series by Robert Kirkman, Cory Walker, and Ryan Ottley. On this episode, we're of course going to talk about the latest news and updates for Invincible. We're going to give our predictions for the season 3 episode titles, along with some emails, I think, where some of you are going to give your predictions as well, you listeners. And then we're going to have a great issue spotlight at the very end of this episode as well. And joining me, of course, well, I am Wyatt, one of your hosts, and joining me, of course, is Ryan.
Hey, everybody.
Bill.
Oh, hey, it's Bill.
And TJ.
Oh, hello, it's TJ, and we're back. It's been
We're
a
back.
while. It's always been a while.
There
we
it
always
is.
have this
Everyone's
conversation.
Someone's
It's always
got to
been a
say
while.
it each
But
time.
I mean, this time, I feel
Yeah.
like we've been getting further in between.
But I think that's going to change soon. I think we're
Yeah.
starting to
Shun.
Shun. No. But yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's the nature of during the show airing. We're making so much stuff and we're constantly talking about the podcast that whenever it's the off season, it always feels like, how long has it been? Has it been a month? Has it been 2 years? I don't know. How long has it even been?
And I feel like we always have enough to talk about that we probably could be like releasing every other week instead of once a month during this slow time. But you know what? It makes these episodes more exciting, makes them a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot to talk about. So
We do.
I bet you could just take the first 2 minutes of the last 4 episodes and just make it the same conversation, because it's the same conversation we have
pretty much
in the intro of every single.
Yeah, everybody's tuned off because they think they've heard this.
Yeah.
At one
So
point.
I dare us to not talk about how long it's been the next
I was going to
episode.
start before we started recording and I was teling you guys not to bring it up.
Yeah.
But there we
If
go.
that's going to happen, we have to do. We gotta do more. We gotta get back to old form Invincible podcast. We are here. We haven't gone anywhere.
That's right.
We're here.
What's that?
And
Bill?
while
What
we're
am-
here,
what am I drinking? It's the sweet tasted Diet Dr. Pepper. That was not planned until 3 minutes before I sat down and wanted to grab a drink and was like, oh shit, I have Diet Dr. Pepper.
Part of me thought that you were going to make yourself laugh as you took a sip and just like
it did seem like you were running out of breath at the last part of it, that I thought there was a laugh coming.
Oh,
Don't
maybe
waste
that
a
was
drop.
just-
Don't
okay.
waste a
Oh
drop.
my fucking god, dude! Fucking classic. Oh,
Well, on this podcast, just to make it clear, we are probably going to be talking about some spoilers. So if you have only watched the show and are here, I think throughout this episode, for sure, we're going to be talking about things that will likely show up in season 3, but then even, I'm sure, in issue spotlight and other discussion, we may be talking about stuff from even further in the comic. So be warned that if you haven't read the comic yet, go do that and then come back and hang out with us and talk all about the comic, because it's great. You can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. And speaking of, Ryan, I think you have an email to start us off.
I do. Here we go. We've got one from Murad. Murad says, "Hey guys, just a word of thanks for all the great episodes as of late. Pretty impressive that you can create so much fun content when there's not actually all that much news to share. Anyways, I wanted to share these cosplays my friend Dave made for Fan Expo Toronto this year. Not only did he do Omni-Man, but check out this Immortal, complete with GDA control collar. Pretty neat, huh? Gonna pause here. You
hold
guys
on.
can look at these.
Oh,
Hold on.
wow.
Hold on.
I know, TJ. Let's go.
Are we looking at these first?
Go for it. I sent them
Okay.
to you.
Incredible.
holy shit!
Jeez.
Also,
Right?
just incredible photography as well.
Yeah.
Whoever took these
Yeah.
shots.
The
it-
Omni-Man
it
is
looks
great,
incredible.
But I have not. We haven't seen an Immortal,
No.
and that
True.
is fucking awesome. Did he like 3D print that shit or make it out of foam? I'm
Just
always
his
so
face.
impressed.
His face is
Dude.
perfect.
It looks like foam and a pair of headphones. It looks like, or one of those cooling fans that you put on your neck.
It is one of those.
Doesn't it look kind of like that?
Because I've used one of those before. That's what it is.
But yeah, it
I
looks
didn't
like
know I
foam
could
and
make an
maybe some
Immortal
other like
collar.
plastic
Like,
tubing
I-
pieces.
yeah,
So
tubing.
cool. Yeah.
So I was at Fan Expo Canada, and I mean, I was only there on Saturday from like open till like 5 o'clock. So I
Mhm.
wasn't there like super long, but definitely didn't see those. Um, and Murad, I wish I would have known. We could
Yeah,
have said hello.
are you local to Toronto? Let us know.
Local to Toronto.
I know it was fun to
That's how
say.
you said it.
You had to say
How
it
you
too.
said it. Yeah, I tried to do it.
Uh,
Cool.
but there's more to the email. I was on your website trying to see if you had a list of the issue spotlights that have
Wait,
already been
stop.
done.
Wait, stop. He was on the website, Ryan?
Oh yeah, you're
Get
welcome,
the
Bill.
hell out of here.
See?
Bill's like, that's not a real thing. I thought that was just a bit that we did.
I didn't know that we had a website.
You guys are killing me. Come on.
All
Anyways,
right, go ahead.
uh, he wanted to see if we had a list of the issue spotlights that have already been done. I'd love to share one, but I don't want to go through all the old episodes to figure it out. I'm lazy. We'll do that. We'll figure that out
Yeah.
and I'll add it. Or you know what? We have done. Ready for this? We have done 21, 24, 52, 55, 58, 65, 72, 90, 100, 104, 109, 111, 123, 128, and 141.
Has it been that many? Jesus.
15. Yeah, 15 total.
Oh
Because
my
the four of
god.
us and always one fan spotlight, and we've gone through 3 cycles now.
So we've got Uh, and then continuing, while I was there, I also realized that the episode that this letter will inevitably be read on is your 150th episode. Congratulations on this stunning achievement. Here's to 150 more of the best superhero podcast in the universe. And then, cheers, Murad. And they said, here are a couple of potential episode titles. We'll get to that later in the episode. But first, you mentioned episode 150. Here's the thing, we like to make a big deal out of our anniversary episodes or our milestone episodes, and we want to do something special. So this is actually episode 151. So thank you for the congratulations, but we're gonna skip 150, and we have something coming up where we're gonna do something special for 150. But that's to come, not much longer, but soon we're gonna do something cool for episode 150. So we're gonna skip it. We kind of played, fast and loose with the episode numberings anyways. We don't count certain ones like interviews, and we stopped counting officially after 100 and all this stuff. But yeah, it is kind of the 150th, but at the same time, we're going to make a really special episode for that soon. But thanks for checking.
Counting is a little different in the realm of the Invincible podcast. So
Yeah. If Robert Kirkman and Ryan Ottley can release a comic called Solid Blood 17, we're allowed to make this our episode 151. You know?
There's 144 issues of Invincible, right? Or right?
144.
144. Yeah, but
Mhm.
Invincible returns.
Invincible Zero.
If you don't count
Yeah.
Invincible Zero, we don't count. I mean, is there? So you know what? We could do that too. So, but more on that soon. So
Yes.
thanks for writing in, and you can write in too. Email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com, like many of you did, and we're going to get to more letters later in the episode.
Yeah. And before we get to our main topic of guessing those season 3 episode titles, we of course have some Invincible news. First off, artist Gabriel Piccolo. Am I pronouncing his name right? I think so. He posted another set of just incredible artwork. His stuff is always so
Oh my
great.
gosh. It's awesome. I forgot
yeah.
I was going to send that over to you guys too. Bill, do you
Yeah.
know what we're talking about? I don't know if
No,
you
I
saw
may have seen it. And I
He's
just
the
don't
same
put
artist
it
who
in-
did Mark and Eve at the laundromat. And
I've
then
seen those.
They
Mart.
did the cover. He got the cover recently. That was them in front of Burger Mart.
Yeah.
Like it's always just this very
like
feels like slice of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very. All of his stuff is so great.
I just sent you guys the new ones. Just him in the dorm room, like Eve making fun of the seance dog.
Oh yeah.
Figures.
Oh
Like-
yeah, and he's got a Radiohead poster in the background. Like,
Right?
how could it couldn't be made more for me? Like, I feel so spoiled by everything we get from Invincible.
Yep.
Why do you think he's there? This may be a dumb question, but why do you think he's wearing a Yale shirt?
I don't know. I think it's
He
just
doesn't go to Yale. I mean,
yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
True.
you know that.
I don't know if it's
Maybe he was just
college,
going for like, just a college vibe of.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I like how he's always bandaged up and like just
Yeah.
always.
Yeah,
Always,
it's very reminiscent of the Hawkeye run from was it Matt Fraction? I think
yep,
there was
yep.
always the little square or rectangle like bandages. But yeah, his
Mhm.
stuff is so great. We also got the pre-order available now for the Art of Season 2 book for Invincible,
Can't
which is
wait.
awesome. Yeah, that first book is one of the coolest things
Yeah.
to just really get like a peek behind. If you love any of the times that we've had people who worked on the show come on to our podcast and talk about how the show gets made and the cool little details that are just a part of the making of that show, it's definitely a must buy, and I can't wait for
Yeah.
season 2.
It's a
Yeah.
literal like documentary of how it's
Yeah.
made. Like
Mhm.
it's not just an art book; it's a documentary. So it's very cool.
Yeah, love it. And
Yep.
it's really cool because the first one is so much about creating these
Mhm.
designs and these characters, being that the first season. But the second season, I'm really excited to see how much they pack into it as far as just all the new stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yeah, can't wait.
Especially with like when season 2 started, I know there was a lot of discussion about like, oh, character models look slightly different and
Yeah.
animation feels different than it was in season 1. It'll be nice to maybe get a peek behind the curtain to see what kind of things were actually changed, because it's always hard to tell just from the finished product of like what the specific changes were.
And I hope that means that the first art book sold well enough, like that
Yeah,
they're just gonna keep doing it.
for sure. We also got, if Ryan didn't get enough card games and board games of Invincible, we got another one announced that is Invincible the
Crazy.
card game. It's launching on Kickstarter on October 8th.
Yeah,
Very exciting.
this is from Indie Boards and Cards, board game company. They signed a multi-year deal with Skybound to make games using the Invincible IP. They make games. They make Aeon's End and Astro Knights. I have heard of those, but I've never played them. This game is going to be basically using that system. I watched a video on how it's played and everything like that. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So excited
Nice.
to learn more about that. Not long now, only another couple weeks, and we'll see what the Kickstarter has in store. And that game, they said, should be out in August of 2025, as
Hmm,
as long as the Kickstarter goes well. So
nice.
yeah.
And then we also got Omni-Man's Animality was revealed for Mortal Kombat 1. And it is him. If you don't know what an animality is for Mortal Kombat, that's where, of course, they like turn into some giant creature as their like finishing move or whatever. And for Omni-Man, it is Hail Mary, or the giant kaiju that him and Mark fight at the end of episode 7, right? Of
Uh,
season 1.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very cool. I saw the clip of him like biting Johnny Cage in half
Yeah.
and just splitting him. It looks great. It's very cool to see even more like just assets from the
Yeah.
Invincible in that 3D, animated style.
Did
Even Sky.
anybody else? Did anybody else love Mortal Kombat Annihilation as much as I did when I was a kid?
I don't
I
think
like,
that
Come
was one that
on.
I played.
which one
Feel
was
your
it?
animality, your animality, your animality.
Oh, the movie.
Is that
Yeah, the
Oh,
movie.
the movie.
The
Okay,
movie.
yeah.
It's
I
Mortal
do
Kombat
remember the
2.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
It's
not really.
it's like, I don't know that I
Love
love.
that
I mean,
shit.
I do remember enjoying it as a kid. I feel like it's one of those ones that I would go back and watch, and I could probably enjoy it the same way I enjoy like Batman and Robin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I could
I think
probably
it's gonna
quote
give
the
me that
shit out
vibe.
of that movie.
I didn't know that animalities were a thing. And when I first saw it, I was like, is this fan made? What is this?
Yeah.
And then it looked fucking awesome. And I'm like, this is a real life Mortal Kombat thing. They do
Yeah.
Animorphs,
Yeah,
like the
it's
book
like there's
series from
yep.
the 90s.
This is like
Yeah.
Dumb.
going back to the
But
early Mortal Kombat. I don't know if this was maybe started in 3 animalities, but there's like babalities where they turn into babies. There's friendship where
Hmm.
they actually don't kill the other person. They just like do something really kind for them. They're all just takes on the fatality thing, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
animality, Scorpion would turn into a scorpion, or Liu Kang would turn into a dragon or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that they were adding animalities to this new update, I was like, yeah, they might do the thing where the like guest characters don't get that upgrade, like they don't have one. But then I'm like, man, Omni Man could turn into a Ragnar. That would be really
that
freaking
would be cool.
cool. And I
Yeah,
really thought that's what, if anything, that's what it would have been. But the fact that like they're going with Hail Mary, which is awesome. Skybound posted a video of it with a side by side, and of course, no surprise, they're using the exact same like
yeah,
motions and everything, the way it attacks, the way it like
mhm.
moves and everything. It's really cool to see that they like really wanted to study it and make it look right and move the correct way as it did in the show. Pretty crazy,
Yeah, it's the same way we felt, I think, when you saw all of Omni-Man's moves. Like, it's all
right?
everything he does in that game is something that you can point to one scene and be like, "Oh, that's from this." The team working on that game definitely care about those little details. Super cool to
Yeah,
see.
very cool. And the new update, it was just out today. I just set it up to update before we jumped on. So I'm excited to try it out for myself because that's a free update to
Oh,
give
nice.
the animalities to everybody that has the base
That is
version of
cool.
the game.
And then lastly, as part of our news, in Guardian the Globe in the Invincible mobile game, we got Thula a little while back, and now we're in the middle of a Lucan event where we've got Lucan in the game. So that can only mean we have to get Vidor next, right?
Yeah, I'm like, are they gonna really? Are they like Lucan? Yeah, sure, but Vidor is the one that's like he's kind of
Yeah.
random. And again, they gave us Universa, so who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that Lucan's like first of all, he like plays off of Thula, like they both on a team, they always show
Yeah.
up together, like that makes sense. It's very thematic. Also, the fact that like his main thing is just like a slap, which I think is really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
He just,
Yeah.
like goes up and just like backhands
Uh-huh.
people, and that's just like what he does in the show.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very
Even
I mean,
even one of his main skills is that, like, when he's about to die, he can go and do one last hit on
yes,
somebody right before
yes,
he dies and then drops dead. Like, that's a cool little detail.
yeah.
Lucan, the event just finished for us as of this recording.
Yeah.
So by the time you guys are watching this, you guys might know about the next event, and
True.
we
Yeah,
don't
there
even know yet.
seems like they're doing one character per month. I'm really
Yeah.
hoping we get like a shapesmith. We haven't
Yeah.
had someone
He's
like that. We've
definitely
had
coming.
a lot of criminals and a lot of worlds beyond. I really want shapesmith in the game, and I think his like special ability could be really cool. But yeah, we haven't had him yet, so we'll see.
Would he be Worlds Beyond, or would they, like, as part of his cover, he's, like,
Hoping-
guarding the globe?
Yeah, I'm hoping he's GDA because we
Yeah.
wouldn't be
That'd
playing
be
as
nice.
him as what he was. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I like that. I like that.
but we'll see.
So that brings us then to our main topic, which is where we are going to predict the season 3 episode titles. Of course, if you didn't know, each episode title from seasons 1 and 2 are always a line that's pulled directly from the comic. A lot of times they're not even really said in the actual episodes, but they're usually pulled from whatever story or part of the story they're adapting in that episode specifically. So we've each kind of gone through. I think the original plan, we texted each other and said, let's all pick like 3. And then
Yeah.
we'll come back and just share out our 3 and like see if we can guess who it was that said that. And I'm pretty sure all of us, as we went back, were like, well, if I'm picking these ones, then I should pick another one for when this happens. And we all kind of just ended up with a full season list.
It ended up being way more fun than I expected. Like just
Yeah.
kind of going through and be like, oh yeah, that would work. And then, oh no, this could make sense. And then like Bill,
Yeah.
like you were telling us how you started to kind of see the matrix of like, this is how the season could go. Like
Yeah.
based on your episode titles.
Yeah.
That's why I mean I did all of them without even thinking about it. I forgot about the whole only pick 3 thing because I thought that the whole point of this whole episode
This is
is
gonna-
where we think this season is going to go. So it's for me it was less
Sure.
about what is the title and more about what's going to be the main focus of each episode, and that's what made it fun.
I don't want, see, that's the problem. We can go on
Mhm.
for
That's not what this
if
is.
that's what this is going to be.
Yeah.
That's not what
Yeah,
this is.
I'd rather this be like, this is the episode title because I think this could be in this episode. Drop
Yes.
it. We're not going to argue that. Like we could
Yeah.
go on for a really long time. We've done it before, but it is going to be interesting to see like where we think, oh, so you think that's going to be episode 3, huh?
Yeah. I like
May I
Here's-
add an
here's-
element to this?
Oh God.
that. Please.
I think that if any of us get any of the episode titles right, like if I say like, oh, episode 6 is going to be this title, and that I ended up being right about the title, but not the episode. You know what I mean? It still counts.
Sure.
Mhm.
But if we get
Oh
the
yeah. No,
episode
the
right,
numbers don't. The numbers are just for fun
Yeah.
and for our own outline.
I numbered that shit, and I'm going to be going
too.
over. Okay.
Yeah.
If any of us get it right, the other 3 of us have to buy that person a pizza, a real pizza bet.
Yeah, we'll just add it to the pizza
No,
butt.
no.
That's
A real
over
one.
there in the
A
closet
real
somewhere.
pizza. If
I love this.
your closet is full of pizzas that you owe me, Bill. Full.
I'll do you one better. TJ, I'll do you one better.
Will you?
If we get any of these fucking episodes, okay, here's the thing.
There's
Yes,
one that
if
is
we
a
get-
guarantee.
If we get any of them
I
right,
think there's a guarantee.
like we can do the
Okay,
pizza
okay.
bet. But if any of us get the episode number and the title correct, Robert Kirkman has to send us a pizza.
That's so likely.
He's
That's so
not
And
likely.
they
here
can't
to
change
agree
it.
to
Like
that.
if
He's
we
not
get
here
it
to agree
right
to
and
that.
they go back and they change it because we got it right, we predicted it, that fucking doesn't count.
Bill, the
We
thing
gotta
is
keep it
though,
the same.
Robert Kirkman has been on this show like I forgot how many times, and he still won't admit that he listens to our podcast.
He's even called out the pizza bets, which is what makes it so funny.
All right.
I like the idea that you imagine that like Skybound HQ is listening to the podcast and they just have a whiteboard of the titles and they're like, oh, they said that one. Cross it off. We'll find a new quote.
I imagine when they're listening to this episode, papers are flying everywhere in the office space, and they're like,
Chaos.
"We got like just chaos." Yeah,
We're gonna change the titles.
Yep. So considering we all kind of have it all, do we want to just kind of go in our like everybody? What's your episode 1 kind of thing?
I
I
like
think that's
the
a good
idea
idea.
of I was thinking that we all each just give our full like 8 and
Oh.
honorable mentions.
I also like that too.
I didn't do
Like
honorable
I
mentions.
say yeah,
My
and you don't have
only-
to have honorable mentions. I think
Honorable
but each
mentions
person
don't
goes at a time because we might have some that are overlapping.
I was gonna say,
And I think it would be fun to just do all of our list and then go to the next person.
I'm
my
gonna go
only
first.
downside to that is
Dibs.
that if whoever goes last, it's like, well, half of these were said. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
don't think so. I think mine are
think
kind
you're
of.
gonna
None of us
random?
know which
I
ones
do-
we're
I-
picking
I
necessarily.
do kind of like the idea where it's like, Ryan, what's your number 1? And you say your first episode, and I'm like, oh shit, I had the same thing. Like, rather, I don't know. I like going episode 1, episode 2. Did we all number our episodes?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
I was
And
more
the
so
issue that it's
thinking.
pulled
I was
from.
more so thinking because you guys mentioned that, like, depending on what you title yours and the reason why,
Yeah,
that
because-
gives your kind of scope of what you think the season will be. So having one of us share all of that first will be easier to keep track of. Like, oh yeah, because you
Yeah.
think episode 2 will be this, and
Okay.
episode 5 will be this.
I'm fine
I'm
with
fine
it.
either way.
Let's do it. Bill, top to bottom.
okay.
Start
Top
with
to
your
bottom.
episode 1, and then the brief example of like. So again,
Okay, I
does
got it.
everybody? Will everybody be able to talk about where this is in the comic and who said it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wrote down the character in the
Yep.
issue.
Yep.
and I'm
okay.
going second. I call it.
All right, I'll go
Third.
third.
All right, number 1, episode 1.
That's what I was worried about.
Episode 1, I had
I'll
a
go
few
last, it was
different
my fault.
quotes. I had 3 different quotes, but the one that I went with is "That didn't take long,"
Ooh,
and it's from
like it.
issue 43. And the highlight of that is
This
Oliver.
sucks.
Yeah,
That's
better than
literally my
yours, isn't
number
it?
1.
Is it really?
Yes.
How about that? We can
That is-
call out if you have the same one that
Yeah.
somebody calls out. We can call
All
it
right.
out.
And the main thing is obviously Oliver has aged and they're playing catch and he got his powers obviously, so that'll be a fun
Love
one.
it.
So
Uh,
I didn't.
So just because we're still talking about this one, how perfect of an episode title. Like Skybound, if you're listening, this season came out way quicker. Everybody, it's gonna
Yeah.
be fast. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fast. Episode 1, that didn't take long. How awesome
Yeah.
of a title is
and
that?
the fact
do
that
like
isn't the
that.
first one it's about time or something like that.
The first
isn't one of
season
them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
So it's just kind of like a play on that. All right, number 2. I had the hardest time with this. I knew it was going to be about multi-Paul with all that stuff, so this is just throw one. Your brother is going to jail. I don't know. I just fucking threw it out there.
That's not
Number
bad. Not
3.
bad.
Back in business for multiple reasons. We got a return of Titan, Tether Tyrant, and Magmaniac.
Ooh.
And it would fight. Let's see. So that comes from issue 47. It's going to include 48, which is a big fight, and then it's going to end with the fight in the White Room, or it's going to end with the cliffhanger of Cecil being like, "Oh, element of surprise."
So it's all the
Gotcha.
Doc Seismic stuff too.
All the Doc Seismic stuff as well. Yeah,
So
that's the big
back in business.
yep.
That's
back in business because you
who
got
says it?
because you have all of the villains kind of like coming back, especially
Yeah.
Titan.
Who
I
says
like
it?
it.
Back in business. I'm pretty sure it's Titan that says
That's
it.
cool. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's Tether Tyrant. Tether Tyrant says it
Ooh.
when he and Magmaniac decide to do like heists and stuff again.
Oh, with
Love
Kid
it.
Omni Man showing up.
Number 4, mid season finale, right? So it is the big fight, issue 50. It's probably going to be all of that. It's going to end with Mark and Eve kissing, and the episode title, I want it to be just crap because it's what
pretty
Cecil
funny.
says, but I think it's going to be You're Fired. Number
Wait, who's-
5,
My only concern with
says-
that one is it too much
Cecil
of a
says You're
spoiler?
Fired.
But talk about it because people that may not know, you know what I mean.
So there's a fight between him and Cecil, and Cecil at
Yeah.
the end of the issue pretty much says, "Invincible, you're fired." And I could have said "Invincible, you're fired," but I just took "You're fired" from it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, number 5. I took from issue 51, and it is called "Finishing Touches," and it is when Oliver and Mark get their new costumes.
Love it.
And it
Oh.
is it's art that says "Finishing Touches." I just put the finishing touches on your costumes. There's going to be so this episode is going to have the new costumes, Mark and Oliver crime fighting together, and it's the first one that Angstrom comes back and he's like, "Oh, interesting," and he's like spying in the background, so you see that
Yeah.
he's
I
back.
love how interesting.
Yep. Let's see. Number 6 is, I'm going to call it "Welcome to the Future," and that is from, what is that? What you said too? Issue 54.
On. On.
How many
No,
notes did you
wait.
take, Ryan?
No, because I did consider that, but no, I guess I don't have that one. Go on. Go ahead.
Or it could also be "Locked Down but Not Out," and
That's-
it's the
Like
it's
it.
the breakout
Like
scene.
it.
But I like "Welcome to the Future" more, and I think that they could play around with it and have Mark in the future as part of the episode, and then it flashes back to Alan and Nolan escaping prison, and they can say "Back to the Past" and then "Back to the Future" when they go back and forth, like a fun
Like
little
it.
fucking
That's fun.
narrator thing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 is "It's a Start,"
Nice.
and that's
one of my honorable mentions.
yep, and that's Angstrom in issue 58 when he gets all the Invincibles going.
The only reason I
Um,
didn't put that as a normal one is I feel like a lot of the time they don't use ones that they actually say. And I
Exactly.
want him to say that. But then again,
Yeah.
I thought you were stronger. So if it's at the end and
Yeah.
it doesn't spoil anything in the title, then it can
Yeah.
work. And that is
That's-
one that I think it works.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
I was thinking the same thing as well. Also, this episode is going to include Powerplex, and it is also going to include the Amber getting beat part. So
Mm.
there's going to be multiple issue threads in there,
So like
and then it's going to end with "It's a Start."
Powerpex is looking and trying to get Invincible, but Invincible is helping out with Amber, which is why he's not
Yeah,
showing
it could
up
be
and,
thrown
like-
in there. It's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
hour long.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine how much stuff we get packed into
I know,
episodes.
I
Like,
know
you
it.
forget. And then the last one, it can't not be the Invincible War. It's just going to be called the Invincible War.
That would be dope.
Issue 60, the entire episode is the fucking Invincible War, and then it ends with Conquest coming down. And that is how season 3 is going to end, on that fucking huge cliffhanger with Conquest coming down after all that chaos.
I love
Love it.
Man, those are all really good, Bill. I think, man, the Invincible War, that's an obvious one because that's like the title of that. And anytime
it
you
has
use
to
that
be.
title,
It has to be.
I didn't do that.
Does
I
anyone
don't think
ever
that's a
say
creative-
the Invincible War though?
No.
And
But
if
does
they
anybody-
so far have always been something that somebody says. right?
No,
This
these
mission-
machinations.
machination.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
the name
sure.
of the.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is-
true. That's true.
Which is
fair.
why I think Lockdown but Not Out is a surefire guarantee.
That's why I put it
Mm.
as like a honorable mention, because it's like
it.
it's the same thing that they did with,
Yep.
which is why I think that it would be a fun time to do the time travel and the
It's a half
breakout, because
episode.
it's fun. It's like a fun little narrator. They bring him back, kind of thing.
Yep, they have to bring Paul F. Tompkins. Was that who narrated?
Yeah.
They have to bring him back to do the narration
Yeah.
again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it fits in the time frame too, because it's
Dude, I know.
episode. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Who's next?
it's a good
I
call.
am.
I think
all right,
TJ's next.
TJ. Good
None
job,
of
Bill.
none of mine were said by you though, Bill. There was one that's
Wow.
close to yours that you said, or maybe, but you didn't go with that one.
Okay.
But I have one similar. Yeah.
So your Bill and Ryan's number one, I agree. It's probably that. I didn't do that, but that was a good call out because it does fit in with the narrative of us. Like, well, it didn't take 3 years for the next season. So,
Mhm.
however, I went with "Here We Go" because that is what Alan says, where it's like, all right, it's time. They're about to break out. Alan and
Mm.
Nolan are about to
Nolan.
break out, and Alan says, "Here we go." Like it's all one page, you know. So
Starting with the prison breakout,
Yes.
episode 1.
Love
Yeah.
that.
like
Be a
doing
fun-
that.
That would be a fun premiere.
That would be a very fun premiere.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I'm
also
really-
premiering. Hold on. The Invincible side of it, like the Mark side, there will be something, but it'll be something like it's mostly going to be getting back to Mark. There's going to be some awkwardness with him and Eve. There's going to be like they're good friends, but like all that stuff. But it's basically going to be getting back into Invincible.
I think we can all agree these episodes will have way more than what we can expect in, because
Of
they
course.
do pack them.
Mhm.
But there's always that one thing like, oh yeah, the Atlantis episode, or that's the Anissa episode.
Yeah.
That's what
Mhm.
that's all we're saying. We're not saying that's all the episode is, and they
Yeah.
can find ways to move
Yeah.
things around.
Mhm.
Episode 2. Actions hold no consequence.
Mm.
Who said it? I
Go-
like playing
go
this
on.
game too. I
Hold
like
on.
playing this game of who said it.
Okay.
It's probably Cecil that says it.
You think you are above the law.
No.
You think that your actions hold no consequence. You are wrong. I
Is this
think
Mark saying it to Cecil?
nope.
Or
It's
is it Darkwing?
nope. It's the very first thing that you hear from Powerplex. I think Powerplex is going to be
Mm.
episode
Damn!
2, because he's on the
That
poster.
would be cool.
They're not going to hold off until later on in the season. I think he'll be episode 2.
I mean, his
Wow.
lightning's on the poster.
That means black suit
Yeah.
needs to come. That means the suit. What, the suit changes? We can't do this. Okay.
Yeah,
just stick it- yeah. Okay, all right.
Just give your reasons why you picked the line, and then we gotta go.
Right.
Let's see. I did all of these like out of order. Um
That makes total sense.
so episode 3 is I'm starting to think I have issues.
I like that. That's a good one.
Do you know who it is?
I think I have
don't.
issues.
That one's
That's Oliver.
it's Rexplode talking to
Oh.
Invincible, and he's like,
Nice.
Invincible goes to him and he goes, like, oh, you're getting better, and he's like, yeah, I got like all this new stuff in my hand, and like this is this, and they start talking about Eve, and then Invincible's like, oh, so you were the one to tell her that me and Amber broke up, and he goes, I figured you'd want me to. I mean, I thought you were into her, and then he's like, but I think that all guys are into the girl that I'm dating. I'm starting to think I have issues. I'm starting to think I have issues, but I think that it's going to be, and then Invincible and Rex, it's kind of their thing, and it leads into multi-Paul. So another reason why I'm going with multi-Paul in episode 3 is because you can't just bring Duplicate back immediately. You got to put a couple episodes in there. It lacks consequence, right?
The only thing, and again, go on. I
It
don't want
lacks
to get into it.
consequence.
Don't do it. Because I want to do it too, but we can't.
Think about it. Think about it.
Can't do
I'm also pulling, just like the show does, pulling this issue
Yeah.
that's way
Yeah.
later and pulling it
Moving
up.
things around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna say it. Oliver is too young. There has to be a time jump, so it wouldn't be right away, no matter what.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
For the viewer,
in
though,
in the
If
show
if
continuity.
episode
Yeah.
7 this happens, and then episode 2 episodes later she's alive.
Yeah, but to be fair, don't we know that that Duplicate's back? Like, didn't her
Yeah.
and Immortal have
Yeah.
a moment? Well, then why
It
should
just
we?
means
Why
showing
should
up
we wait?
to-
It's just
yeah, but there's
so-
got to. We have to have, I think, an episode or 2 where we don't see her.
we're doing it. We're doing it. Go to episode 4.
The element of surprise.
Yeah. That's Cecil.
It's the White Room. He's like, why did you bring me here for the element of surprise?
Yeah.
I like
And
it.
that's
but
how
one of
49
those-
ends.
I like it, but that's
Yeah.
one of those where, like, if you go to play, episode 4 called The Element of Surprise, and then you get all
Yeah.
the way to the end of the episode and he says the title, it's like,
For
he
sure.
said it.
It is definitely
Yeah.
one of those things.
But because if he doesn't say it in the show, then I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they've scripted it so he's going to say something else cool, why do you think I brought you in here? And it's like,
Mhm.
boom. And
Yeah.
but
Like it.
All right. This is one that, again, the title I may be wrong on, but I feel like I'm right in the episode.
Is this
at least
5?
feel like it. This is episode 5. So, episode 4, whatever it may be, the mid-season, finale, ends with a big cliffhanger. Whatever the cliffhanger may be, it ends with a big cliffhanger. Something that happens with Mark on Earth. Episode 5 comes, and the entire episode is away from whatever that cliffhanger is. We don't see it at all. And we get a full episode with with Alan and Nolan, who we haven't seen since the premiere. And it's literally all them going to Thetis. We get everything that we saw in the book from season 2. All the books. We get Space Racer. We get Ragnar's. We get all of that stuff that comes back to season 2.
You're pulling from way out.
That's
though.
much later.
Nope, that's all one issue.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yes.
no.
Yeah, but it's
not
later.
much later.
But it's
But
later.
that's
Not
smart
much.
because otherwise it's
Yeah.
only the prison with Nolan and Alan in this season.
No.
It probably is going to be both. You're right.
So
Yeah.
it's just past Conquest. I didn't reach too far.
I know.
I didn't reach too far.
You're right.
So, but that keeps them going in the
I like
season.
that.
It keeps them
No,
going in the
you're-
season.
That's
You got to give
that's-
them more to do. You're right.
I
You're
love
right,
that.
yeah.
I think that's perfect.
Episode 6. So back in episode 3 was Multi-Paul, right? Episode 6 is where we get the fun stuff. We get Titan back. We get Mr. Lou talking to Titan saying, hey, my guy, Multi-Paul, is being held by your government. And Titan is saying, listen, all I need is time. That's my title for this one. We get Magmaniac. We get Tether Tyrant. We get all those cool characters like Bill was saying before. And that's our in between fun.
Who says all I need is time?
Titan says that to Mr. Lou.
I think that's a really fun episode title. Here, for the record, I don't think they're going to do a mid-season finale break the whole thing. I don't think there will
it won't be a break, but there's always
I get it. Imagine if they did do a 4-week break or whatever, and then the next episode back is called All I Need Is Time. That's kind of fun. But that would be 5, not 6.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Go on.
7.
Hold on, let me get back to it here. What did I do? Did I miss it? I don't remember why I chose this episode 7.
Remember. He doesn't remember.
Just throw it 8 then.
Yeah.
Come back to it if you find it.
I can't remember. I know what it is, but I just don't remember why I said it. I guess. Sorry, I'll figure it out. But
this is the penultimate episode, and you're dropping the ball.
I know.
You got us all on pins and needles, TJ.
Oh, I do remember. I remember. I just didn't screenshot it because I wanted to screenshot it. But again, this is a wild stretch, and I know I'm wrong about it. But episode 7 is Leave Him to Me. And it's the last thing. Nope. Yeah. It's the last thing that Rexplode says to the Guardians.
Nice.
Leave him to me.
Man.
I like it.
Man.
Imagine the penultimate episode ends with Rexplode.
That'd be a great way to end an episode.
Damn.
Like mid-war, we're not seeing the
mid-war
resolution of the war. It's just
Yeah. Could see that.
Definitely mid-war.
Oh, you could.
He blows up, and you see all the Invincibles over that, the monuments of those different places on Earth. They won.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't quote me on this because I don't entirely believe this for it to end this way, because I think I more agree with what we've talked about in the past, what Bill ended with. But episode 8, I titled it "Live to See Tomorrow." I can see that being the season 4 premiere, but I can see the future would be a cool title for a finale. But I can see the future. You don't live to see tomorrow. What Invincible says to Conquest.
I love the line, but I want him to say it. I don't want it. I don't want people to read it first.
That could be a I thought you were stronger.
Live to see tomorrow is subtle to where people will hear it and not think, oh, it's the episode title. It's like, we need to talk.
Yeah. There's a couple that
True.
But he says we need to talk, and then the next episode is we need to talk. We hear it first, then read it.
Yeah.
But
True.
the Live to See Tomorrow, and it's just one of the best lines in Invincible.
I think it might be my favorite line. It's just so fucking badass.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my least favorite lines. It's
Really?
up there. It's up there with being a hero is bullshit. I don't know why it just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know. I feel like someone wouldn't try to be poetic while they're in the middle of a fucking fight where they're trying to kill each
I
other.
see it. Yeah.
Conquest
Yeah.
just
You know what I
said this entire like 1-page speech, and then Invincible comes back and says,
Yeah, he made a speech that was like, here are literal things I'm going to do to you. And then Invincible was like, well, you know what?
That's not what he says.
I'm all metaphorical now, and being a hero's bullshit too. Don't forget. I love the comic though. I love it.
All right, Wyatt, you want to flip a coin? What are we doing?
Ryan, you go. You go. I'll wait.
Sure?
I'll wait. I'll go last. Yes.
Wyatt thinks he's got a fucking.
I'm just happy none of
He's-
mine have been taken yet fully. Like I
All
feel
right.
good that mine are unknowns yet. But Ryan and I often think alike, so who knows?
Oh, that's true. All right. So episode 1, we already talked about. Issue 43. Debbie says that didn't take long. I like that didn't take long as that episode title. My honorable mention for number 1, since Bill said that one, and it ties into the multi-Paul thing, because I think multi-Paul is episode 1. Um, multi-Paul says, finally, at long last. And I thought that would be a fun first episode back, as well. Episode 2, I've been working out.
That's a good one.
Invincible
Nice.
says that. Issue 48. This is the main crux of this episode is going to be other stuff, of course, but this is the Doc Seismic attack and, it ending with the White Room reveal, right?
Whoa.
Oh yeah, we're moving.
Okay.
We are moving.
Okay.
Episode 3. That's my job. Cecil says that in issue 50.
Mhm.
This and it's during the secret origin of Cecil admitting it's when he admits to working with Nolan, knowing that he was lying about who he was.
Yeah.
It's like how do you live with that? That's my job. So the Cecil episode being called "That's My Job," I like that.
Yeah.
Episode 4, new costumes. This episode is called "Don't Look at Me Like That." It's said by Oliver in issue 52 after killing the Maulers.
Mm-hmm.
Get their costumes at the very beginning of the episode or so, around there. They go on their first adventure or whatever. Mark has to go and do something. Oliver kills the Maulers, and the Guardians are looking at him in shock. And he's like, "Don't look at me like that."
Yeah.
And he's covered in
I
blood.
was looking for something in
In
that
that, yeah,
in
that
that
scene, yeah.
scene that would that shot out at me, but nothing really did. But that's a good one.
That was my last issue spotlight. That episode.
that's right.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about that one a lot.
Episode 5. Give me a few minutes. Invincible says it in issue 54 after killing King Immortal.
Mm.
And they try talking to him, and he's just sitting there like kind of in shock about what he did, and he's
Yeah.
dwelling on it. But it's called "Give Me a Few Minutes" because it's
And
the
it's
time
time
travel
travel.
episode.
Yeah,
Time travel
I
one.
Come
like that.
on!
Clever.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Episode 6, lockdown but not out. Come on, I just think it's going to be that one. Oh, here's the other thing. I think episode 6, lockdown but not out, is going to be a half split episode with Powerplex. And if that's the case, and it's not called Lockdown Not Out, I wanted a Powerplex episode title, and that one would be "This Will Be Over Soon." In episode 59, one of the lab technicians is like, "Hey, they're onto the guy that's stealing all the stuff, but don't worry, they're on to they're gonna figure it out. This will all be over soon."
Like it.
So
I like your dual episode
Because I
idea,
think-
like mine. However, I don't think Powerplex deserves to be the title in that.
I agree, but I just wanted to come up with something.
Yeah.
But I want, and I think we've all talked about, we want Powerplex to get his own episode. But what if he gets
Mhm.
half an episode and Alan gets the other half, and they do one of those things like
Yeah.
they did in season
Mhm.
2?
Yeah.
So that would be episode 6. Episode 7. Wait a second. Okay. Episode 6 would also end with "It's a start," and you see
Yeah.
all the Immortals, or I'm sorry, all the Invincibles.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 7 is called "This Isn't a Good Time," because episode 7 is entirely the Invincible War, and then Conquest shows up
Yeah.
at the
I
end of
like where your
episode
head's at.
7.
I like where your head's at.
And that's
Hmm.
why it's called "This Isn't a Good Time." The
Yeah.
entire episode is just brutal. It'd be really cool if it
He's
was a
not
longer
having a good
episode.
time. He's having a very
And then
bad
he
time.
shows up right at the end. Episode 8, this has been fun. It's just the
Yeah.
entire Conquest fight.
Yeah.
You're crazy, Ryan. You're fucking crazy. They're not going to put the Invincible War and Conquest in the same season.
I'm going to jump into mine.
Yep.
I'm going to jump into mine because none of mine have been said before. Like, I'm glad I have some unique ones, but very similar ideas, I think, in some ways. Some ways, totally.
Me and Ryan so far have. You could say that
Bill,
we have two.
Except I went a little bit further at the end, which again, TJ, you're not crazy because right after Conquest is that Alan stuff. That's something that I would squeeze into mine. I think you're right. Alan and Nolan sooner in the episode, and then we see him again in the middle later of the season where they're going off and doing more adventures.
Yeah,
I will say that that even though I went with Conquest in season 8, I've been saying it forever. I've been saying it for forever. But I feel like those moments, Invincible War and Conquest, is made for a finale and premiere.
Dude, oh really?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't. They haven't ended any season on a cliffhanger, and I feel like Conquest right after what we had just seen. Imagine the fucking hype that Invincible will get, where they're like, "Holy shit, this was the best season. We can't fucking wait to see what's going to happen in season 4."
Imagine the hype if they double up and they show Invincible War. That's the thing Conquest, too. And it's like, this show is bananas.
That's the thing too, is that if you're just showing Conquest, if the very last scene is, stand ready for my arrival, worm, and it's just the tease of that, it's just another Viltrumite to the show watchers. You know what I mean? If you actually show Conquest doing what he's going to do a bit, then I think that changes.
I mean, there could be a little bit of a fight. I'm not saying that there wouldn't be. Yeah. No, I'm saying that there wouldn't be. I'm saying that he would show up.
Okay. I'm going to go into mine. I'm going to go into my 8 because I still have to do an issue spotlight.
Oh yeah, shit. It's fucking Conquest.
First episode that I'm doing. So 301. I think I've made a terrible mistake. I feel like that fits right with the end of season 2 where Mark is at. He is saying this about working with Cecil. He's talking to Eve after he realizes that Darkwing is been pulled into that. So I'm saying we get to a lot of that stuff in the first episode, because episode 2 in my list is called Crap, 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 Crap.
Dude, yes.
5 craps.
Yes.
Come on. Why? We did this. That's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, you said that was your option, that you didn't necessarily go with that one. But yeah, I'm saying crap, 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 5 craps.
You know what?
Episode 2.
5?
It just being called crap, super unlikely. It being called crap, 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 way more likely.
Exactly.
I see them doing that because it's funny.
That's the silliness of the whole I'm going to lose my virginity to a fish type of episode. You know what I mean? They would go with that.
Oh, that's good.
So that is, of course, issue 50. That's when I think that
You're
happens.
Flying through this shit too.
I know.
Right?
But again, remember, they said season 3,
right.
every episode's going to feel like a premiere or a finale. You know what I mean? We're getting to that stuff quick. Episode 3, Young Love, how interesting. I think that would be a great one. That can be where we get some Eve and Mark, fully maybe getting together, all of that
and that's
stuff.
Angstrom, right?
Angstrom says that as he's spying on them.
That falls into the category of I want him to say it.
We do want him to say
it.
Episode 4, everyone's got to pick a side eventually. This is said by Isotope during one of the Titan episodes. I just feel like that's a good thematic thing of Mark and Cecil have split at this point. Some of the Guardians are no longer working with Cecil. It fits into the themes. Isotope says it
could also just be called pick a side.
Yeah,
I feel like they could take that. I feel like they could take that and but they don't shorten it wide, so that's why they wouldn't do that.
Good insight, Bill.
Thanks. Thank you.
Episode 5, that's the secret. This is what Nolan says when he's explaining how few Viltrumites there are left to Alan. When he says there's only around 50 or whatever.
Oh, that's good.
The secret.
That's a really good.
So
one,
that's
Wyatt.
the secret. Episode 5. Episode 6, for all the pain you've caused, and that is Powerplex saying that to Invincible. Because again, this season we're playing into Mark's guilt. We're playing into the fact that maybe he's not a good guy. Maybe he is. This is the black and blue suit era. You know what I mean?
You guys got Powerplex so late in your season.
That would be the Powerplex episode. Yeah. And then 7 is called "Have You Been Watching the News?"
What? That's an honorable mention of mine. Donald
says that to somebody during the Invincible War because they're like, "Oh, I'm so glad we're done with that fight. I don't want to ever do that again." He's like, "Have you been watching the news? Because there's a bunch of other Invincibles."
Basically. It's such a weird one And I
Yeah.
didn't even say it. I'm like, no, I'm not even.
But
gonna
that
bother. I don't
works.
know
That
about
works as like a,
does.
just it's an eerie sentence. You know what I mean? Of have you been watching the news? Because we all know somebody has said that to us at some point. You're like, no, what the fuck happened now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is it this time?
Ooh, that's cool.
And then episode 8 is I'm having the time of my life, which is what Conquest says to Invincible while they're fighting. And I think that episode 7 will be the Invincible War, and I think episode 8 will be the first half of the Conquest fight. I don't think it'll be the full Conquest fight.
Does
I
it
think
end
it
with, like, Eve?
finishes season 4.
Oh,
Maybe
it
something
could.
like that.
It
It
could.
ends
It
with
could. It
Eve.
could.
Yeah,
That's
there
not
are
bad.
several points that I think you could pick that fight could be cut in the
Mhm.
middle.
The
Oh,
That's my
the
that's
one thing
my-
that makes me think that they will do what you and Ryan are saying, that it's Conquest in the finale, is the thing that makes Conquest so like Conquest is the fact that he did just get done with the Invincible War, and he's just like,
yeah.
God
Yes.
damn, what the? If there is a
He
break,
said if he wants
if there's a break, then that will diminish
think-
that.
yeah.
Totally.
I
I
think
agree.
they won't do that because I feel like it would almost be too exhausting. Like I've watched movies that I've walked out of and been like, that was too action packed. Like it
Just
was too
desensitized.
much. You know what I mean? Like
They have to
it's
find a balance
exhausting
for
for
sure.
me. Yeah, there has to be a balance. It can't just be like fucking 2 episodes,
But remember,
2 hours.
in between, like, I think there's half an episode between those things happening because there is going to be the disaster relief,
Yeah.
like all that kind of stuff. Like there is going to
I
be
want, yeah, I just want the Invincible War to be like
Its own thing.
impactful enough where that it's not overshadowed by Conquest. Like I want
Yeah,
people to
that's
talk
fair.
about the Invincible
There's-
War
because
I
because
agree.
it's a lot of
All-
fucking shit happens.
all the Invincibles, Angstrom, the technicians,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of really cool
Yeah,
stuff.
there's
Yeah.
yeah. But
You're
again,
right.
they could do it.
Two,
They could do it that way.
2 honorable mentions I had that I just couldn't figure out where to go. I was only trying to help. This is what Oliver says after he kills the
Yes.
Maulers.
Mhm.
I feel like that would be a good one. And then you never should have left me in charge of Earth. I thought would be a fun one
Ooh.
for the immortal
Guys.
future episode.
Guys,
think
we're
that
all
would be
kind
cool.
of like saying we're gonna see King Immortal, right? Like, are
Yeah.
we
Oh,
getting future
oh my
episodes?
god,
I think we will.
100%.
Guys, this
Yeah.
He's such a fucking important part for the end of the comic, the end of the series, that he has to be in it.
Conquest aside, this is my favorite part of Invincible. Like these issues are all
Yeah.
so good. I can't wait. This is gonna be
Yep.
amazing. Oh, good
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I just want to go on the record and say that one of the ones that one of us chose is absolutely going to be at least one episode title. It can't not be.
We
were
all
too
said
good.
so many good ones.
I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
the
I agree.
title, the premiere episode being what you guys said.
That
I mean,
did
there's
good.
only 8 episodes, and we just threw literally like 24 darts at the board of like
Yeah.
what it could be. So it's got to be on there somewhere. You know?
Yeah.
I think given what we're saying, if this all lines up, Rexplode Funeral season 4 episode 1.
Ooh, yeah.
No
Yeah.
time for it this season.
No.
Like open the
No
season.
way.
Open season 4 with the funeral. Do
Or
it.
if you're splitting up, and like
Conquest.
delaying the Conquest fight a little
Only-
bit,
oh, yeah.
the first half of that finale could be a Rexplode funeral.
Maybe,
Second half.
maybe they go in the direction.
Oh no, I see
of,
what you're saying.
Maybe they go in the direction of Shane from The Walking Dead, and they keep him alive for a little longer and do
Really-
some more cool
No.
stuff with him.
AJ, you wouldn't want that. You
Yeah,
wouldn't.
you wouldn't like that.
And imagine if they
Mm,
actually do pull off, and I'm not saying they will because they're not going to, but imagine if they do pull off a Rexplode short in between, and then
Yeah.
you get to see that, and then the
Yeah.
funeral.
Oh
is
yeah.
in the,
They're gonna do it.
Guys,
Oh, dude.
They're
come
gonna
on.
do it.
right? Then Eve's
TJ
talking about it, and you know what she's talking about because you just watched his episode, guys.
TJ, they did too much redemption in season 2 for Rex not to die in season 3. You don't need that
He's
much.
gonna.
Yeah.
Of course,
Guys,
he's gonna.
this is so good.
So
All right.
write in and tell us who you thought had the best ones and which ones were the
Well,
best.
Well,
Yeah.
we have a bunch of
we-
listener
gosh.
ones already.
We have emails.
So, Wyatt, I didn't really clean these up too much. So
Yeah.
Murad ended his email by saying his were for the Fallout with Cecil, crap. Oh, by the way, I didn't look at these because Cecil says it like 7 times in issue 50. Yep. So crap is the name of an episode.
Crap.
For the prison break, I guess they would have to do lockdown but not out. And then that's all I can think of at the moment. Cheers. Thanks, Murad.
Awesome.
Let's see. Hello, Invincible Podcast. Sam, insert famous last name here. I can't believe we are less than a month away from New York Comic Con, meaning we'll get the season 3 trailer. I hope so. I want to start by saying how cool it is to have my question about episode titles being turned into an episode topic. I love how community focused your podcast is. In doing research for these episode titles, I quickly am reminded about how great this season of Invincible will be. I gave multiple choices for each episode. Thank you guys again for everything you do for Invincible fans.
Was that Sam
Uh,
I Am?
Was it?
No, Rockwell.
Sam I Am?
Rockwell.
Oh,
Oh
Rockwell,
no, I
okay.
think it was
Yeah,
Sam Rockwell.
yeah.
Wyatt, can you read those? I need to search something else.
Yes. So he's got season opener would be like a multi-Paul Oliver. This has been a long time coming. Eve says this, or I'm no killer from Rex. For the second episode, he's going with either the element of surprise from Cecil, that makes you my enemy from Cecil, or if we're done from Mark.
Makes you my enemy. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of liked the yellow from Mark in chapter 52. That would be a good one for the
Oh,
suit
that's
change.
a good one.
I kind of liked the yellow. Yeah.
Oh, I
You
kind of like the yellow is good. I like that too.
That's such a
sound-
good one.
You sound like Dad. Mark says that to Oliver, or sometimes Mark also says that to Oliver. Like those.
I thought of those, but again, I don't want it to detract from it
Yeah.
being said on screen.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am. Mark says that in issue 54, I guess. Is this seat taken? From Mark as well. Lockdown, but not out. That's why we can beat them from Nolan as an option from during the prison break. So yeah, that's when he's explaining to Alan about how many are left. I like that one. Don't worry about us, said by Powerplex's wife. Or there are too damn many superheroes from Powerplex. I like both of those.
Yeah,
Oh, I
I, had,
like that.
chapter-
I had that originally written down, and then I crossed it out, and then
Yeah.
put something else.
He's saying for episode 7, it could just be called the Invincible War, or the world needs you from Cecil, or you've given me no choice from Mark. And then he's saying conquest finale for episode 8. Stand ready for my arrival. This isn't a good time from Mark.
Yes.
Or I can see the future, or you don't live to see tomorrow.
Yeah.
All good ones. All very good ones.
Yep.
I just want to say you're welcome to the creators of the show,
We're
anyone
just-
who's working on it, because we're just giving you everything you need.
Yeah.
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 Here we got one at this one is from Nick Cage. Nick Cage.
Nick
Figured I'd
Yeah.
save Bill the trouble. All right. Hey, Invincible Podcast. I saw on Twitter that you guys that were guessing episode titles. I actually did this for season 2 a full 3 years ago, and not to brag, but I came pretty close on a few of them. The finale title was spot on. So here's my official guesses and reasoning for season 3. Spoilers ahead, obviously, for this being, on the podcast. Both seasons thus far have had 8 episodes, and I don't expect that to change. Fingers crossed there isn't a long break, but we'll keep that in mind that episode 4 should probably have some kind of extra cliffhanger just in case. I think it's pretty obvious that the major through line of this back half will be the Invincible War and the fight with Conquest, which leaves the first half for Cecil distrust and betrayal and a few other character beats. Could they push Conquest to season 4? Maybe, but I doubt it. The show churns through plot lines quickly, and frankly, the big fight works much better as a finale than it does as an opener. So we finished season 2 roughly at issue 45, and the Conquest fight doesn't fully conclude until the epilogue in issue 65. What are the major events in between there that could thematically work as a season arc? Does anything make sense to pull in that is outside of those 20 issues? Here's how I would break it down. If I was Robert. If I was Robert or Simon. If you just want the title, skip to the end of this email. We're going to read just the titles, but he has a paragraph explaining each one. So if we have questions of something, we'll go back to it. So
yeah.
Episode 1, For the Good of Mankind by Cecil.
Like it.
I like that. Yeah. Episode 2, Sometimes, which we've talked about, saying that to Oliver. I love that. That's a really good name title. Just simple.
Sometimes.
But again, I don't know. All right. Episode 3, What the Hell is Your Problem? Said by Oliver in 56. Marcus, he meets King Immortal in the future. Amber learns their new boyfriend is abusive. Sad tale Powerplex. Oliver and Mark reconcile their differences on the roof. In the after
Yep.
credits, we start getting hints that someone is watching Mark. Yeah. Yeah, Oliver says that. Episode 4, it's a start. Angstrom.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 5, The Invincible War Part 1.
He's cooking here. He's cooking
Episode
here. I
6,
love this.
The Invincible War Part 2.
The reason I love this
Fun.
idea, I don't know that
Yeah.
it's going to be episode 5 and 6. I feel like it has to be a little
6 and
later,
7.
but I love that because it's instantly going to make people think of Infinity War, and Invincible
Right.
does a great
Mhm.
job of always spoofing superhero culture and superhero comics, and to do that with
The Part 1, Part
just
2.
know that they see a title that says The Invincible War Part 1, not even knowing, okay, there's 4 episodes left in the season. Or is it going to keep going? Is it just going to be the 2 parts? I think that's a cool idea. I hope they do it.
So, all right, real quick. Well, I want to touch on that for a second, but real quick, episode 7 and 8. Episode 7, something to hit as hard as I can, and episode 8, you don't live to see tomorrow. So, Invincible War Part 1 and Part 2. It's ironic because the whole creation of the Invincible War issue 60 was that one
issue.
single event, an entire event in one
Yeah.
issue, and it's so chaotic. You at no point do you see Bulletproof lose a hand. At one point, he has no hand. He's missing a
Yeah.
hand, and then you later see him flying with a bandaged up stump. At one point, he lost it. At one point, he bandaged it up and got back into the fight.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the appeal. Like, I
Mhm.
love the chaos of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Stretching it out over 2 episodes, 2 hours of how much they pack into this. Man, and stretching out the conquest fight over 2 episodes, unless it's something and then something to hit as hard as I can is the end of 7. You don't live to see tomorrow is the start of 8. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Fun. Man, I don't know. All right.
So
Thanks all
exciting.
thanks for writing it. We're gonna. I mean,
It's
go ahead.
it's just so ironic because I'm the kind of guy, I'm impulsive, right? I think that everything's gonna happen today and all that stuff. I don't know. I think
Season's
that's
still
a
coming out
lot.
in November, 2 months from
Yeah,
now.
I do think it still is. I bet you. I would still.
It's September. It's the end of September right now.
I don't know, man. October's gonna
Well,
come, Comic-Con, and guess
We're,
what?
we're gonna watch the
it's
first
December,
episode at New York Comic Con. They're
Yeah.
gonna
That'll
20
drop.
2024.
By the
I'm
way,
subscribed.
Ryan and I will be at New York Comic Con. So if you're
That's
on-
right. If you made it this far in the episode and you're going to New York Comic Con, hit us up. We'd love to meet up with you. All right. Yeah, we'll see, Bill. I don't know, but either way, we should hopefully get some update at New York
I
Comic Con.
mean, Kirkman pretty much said they asked him about a trailer at San Diego Comic Con, and he goes, "No trailer, but there is another big comic book convention coming up." And they were like, whoever was interviewing him was like, "Oh, New York Comic Con." He goes, "Oh, maybe." So like, hopefully that's
Yeah,
still
we'll
a thing.
Yeah.
we should be seeing announcements of panels pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right. So that does it for our main topic. Again, thank you everybody for writing in. We got a bunch of cool responses over on Twitter as well. A lot of
Yeah.
the same type of titles and guesses, and we'll see who owes who a pizza.
I'm going to commit to the pizza bet as well, and we can even
I don't know
say
where we landed.
not
What is the
necessarily
actual
all of
bet?
them. I'm just saying if
I'm not
any
too
of
sure.
us have ones that are right, I'll send you a pizza. That's what I'll say.
How about whoever has
the most
least right has to send everyone else a pizza.
But if we're all tied for last, that's
Yeah.
a possibility.
Then
could
we'll
be
all
tied
just
for
get
last.
pizza.
We just buy ourselves a pizza and
We all
cry
just buy
over
pizza
how
and
much we
talk
suck
about
and
it.
eat pizza. Yeah.
There
I
will
feel-
be pizza bought.
I
For
feel-
someone.
I feel adding all of ours up, I say we got 4. Definitely.
I like
That
I'm
is
saying 4 is my
super
guess.
optimistic.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I think that we're close to that. I think we're between 3 and 4 at least.
Yeah, 3
at
and
least.
4.
I wouldn't be surprised if we got 8.
2.
TJ, you're
If
saying more
somewhere
like
in
2?
here,
Yeah.
we have all 8.
Are we saying
I'm gonna
exact?
say, I'm gonna say around 2, but
Ooh.
maybe 3.
Are we saying exact?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, you
that-
can't like
Listen,
Yeah.
if it's 4 craps instead of 5 craps, I'm still
Yeah.
gonna say I got it.
Yeah.
you know?
I said
Honorable
crap one
mentions.
time, and I'm gonna take that too.
Don't count.
Honorable mentions do not count.
Bill, if it's 2 or less craps, you get it. 3 or more, I get it.
There you go. All right,
Okay,
I
that's
think
fair.
I think
That's
we've been
fair.
back.
Where I
And,
draw the
and
line.
remember what I said? I said I want it to be crap
Yeah,
or something like that, but I don't think they would.
I'm
I
with
think
you.
it would be this.
I'm with you.
So I want
That-
it to be crap.
That's an honorable mention from you, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
It's not one of your official ones.
All right.
No,
good.
I
Okay,
fucking want
so
it to be.
now we have issue spotlight. And again, I'm always thinking about like what's coming up, what am I excited about? And up until this point, we've picked out the issues that speak to us or random reasons why we want this issue. Like my first one was the one with Nolan, or there's the one with Kid Omni-Man of just like a cool scene that I like. But I feel like it's time to just start getting into the big ones, guys. I picked issue 50. We're going with issue 50. So we're going to break down issue 50. I'm not going to read every single panel because rereading this issue last night, I could read every panel and we could have a full podcast on pretty much every single page of this issue. That's how good it is and how impressive it is. And how much like even though we're going to break all of it down right now, I encourage everybody to go back and reread this issue and imagine Walton Goggins and Stephen Yun doing this.
It's hard to read because there's just so much conflict and there's so many like harsh things said to characters that would never argue like this, that it's just
100%.
Take it away, Wyatt. Take it away.
So we pick up with, Mark in the White Room because Cecil has just done the whole element of surprise thing, and he is surrounding him with Reanimen and is like, what's this about? And Cecil immediately comes in with the jabs about like, you think I don't know where this is going? You're a loose cannon. I don't want to end up like Angstrom Levy. Like, it's just immediately Levy. It's just immediately these two characters are not necessarily going to fight each other physically in this, but they are throwing jabs the entire time. They are both trying to hurt each other. And that's Cecil immediately coming out with the like, I know what you're afraid of. Mark is arguing with him about like, how can you work with these murderers? You're working with Darkwing. You have, D.A. Sinclair, who, was butchering kids at my college. Like, how can you be doing all of this? And Cecil even has a line where he's like, I'm sorry, you can't see the bigger picture just because of your self-imposed like virtues of right and wrong just to prove you're not your father. Like, again, more twisting the knife into every issue that we've seen them build up with Mark.
More so in the show than even what they did in the book. He's going to call him his father. And it's going to mean way more in the show than it did in the book.
100%. And even Mark at one point is like, this is ridiculous. You can't do this. Like, I'm going to go public and tell people about this. And Cecil is just like, you sound like a child right now. What do you even mean blow the whistle on me? Like, do you not know how far my reach goes and how much I can just silence this? Like, you sound ridiculous right now. And if you're trying to stop me, you're my enemy. Eventually, the White Room stuff, like, is starting to short out. It shuts down and Mark sees all of them around him. It's just like hundreds of the Reanimen. And they start talking about like how to de-escalate this. And Cecil basically says like, if you surrender right now and stop what you're doing, I'm sure we can work this out. And Mark is like, that's not going to happen. So Cecil activates the sensor in his ear. It zaps Mark. He like flies backwards. He explains the whole thing of like how they figured that Viltrumites would need their inner ear. It would throw off their equilibrium.
That's one of my favorite parts is when Cecil's like, yeah, we always kind of suspected. Oh, can you hear me? Good. Okay, so we always kind of suspected that you like he stops himself to make sure that. Oh man, dude, so fucking so good.
So they kind of argue back and forth, and Cecil is just like, you think we would have just trusted you blindly, like especially after what happened with your dad, that we wouldn't have some fail safes to be able to beat you essentially. And Mark has that great line where he says like, you put a weapon in me, and then screams it. You put a weapon in me. Like, I can hear Stephen Yun saying that. I can't wait until we get that. Eventually, Mark is just like, what do you think the range is on that thing? As he's still like crumpled on the ground. And Cecil's like, range, what do you? And he flies through the ceiling, immediately gets zapped again and like crashes. And this is when Cecil comes through the door and he does the like, we had theorized that. Oh, are you awake? Good. We had theorized that. Cecil is in almost like full villain mode here, where he's like, I'm going to tell you, I don't just want to take you out of commission. I want to tell you how easily we're taking you out of commission, and like make sure you're awake to hear me tell you this. Like, he's scolding Mark.
This also feels a bit like, what was it, episode 6, season 1, that we got to see a bit of that Cecil like facing off against Nolan, but this time he's prepared.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. And he has sort of the upper hand against Mark, where Mark is literally running away from him.
Yeah.
So he says, like, the range isn't great, but it's enough. And Mark says, like, the Pentagon slowed me down last time because he had to bust through the ceiling. Flies off. Cecil says his first crap. And then we get the iconic, like, 2-page spread of Mark flying across the top with crap, 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 as the last one, as he, like, catches up to Mark and hits the zapper thing. It causes Mark to fly downwards and crash into the base where Shapesmith and Rex and Monster Girl and Robot are. And he's like panicked, scrambling, trying to tell them, like, please, you got to help me. Like, hang on, I'm disoriented, but he's going to be here any second. Like,
I love this
he's
part.
trying to kill me. Da, 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 da. And Cecil comes through the teleport door, and Rex is just like, Cecil, you got to do something, man. Somebody's trying to kill Invincible. Like, what's going on here? And Cecil just goes, I know.
Yeah.
And immediately explains to all of them, like, I know this isn't what you want to hear, but Invincible is trying to stop us.
To anyone
He's
that
trying to
values
stop
your-
this industry. Yeah.
Yeah. To
Anyone
anyone
who
that values your
values their
position,
position.
get out now. Ignore this. Like, step aside. Oh,
And so Mark starts, like, arguing and being like, you don't understand. This is what's happening. He's working with Darkwing. He suppressed in the news that Darkwing even murdered people. I was the one that brought Darkwing in. And he's working with this guy who, again, like, was butchering kids at my college campus, like, and turning them into monsters, and Cecil's working with them. And Rex is immediately like, hey, this isn't what we signed up for. Like, is this true what he's saying? And Cecil uses the ear thing on Mark again and zaps him and is like, Mark, you're spreading like a plague. What are you doing? Just stop this. Like, because he realizes, oh, if Mark really convinces them all, I'm not just going to lose Mark right now. I might lose all of them.
All the Guardians,
like, of these tools that he's come to know. And then it becomes like, it reminds me very much of, like, Captain America Civil War, where it's like, oh no, we're all fighting now. And Rex and the other Guardians, like, jump in and are fighting against a lot of the Reanimen. Rex eventually throws a boomstick over towards Cecil. It blows up the transmitter, which Cecil had mentioned earlier in the issue that, like, hey, if you think about trying to destroy this, it's going to go on a permanent loop if this transmitter is destroyed. So Mark starts screaming in pain. Rex is like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Like, there's a funny little panel of him being like, oh, sorry. What do we do now? And Mark's freaking out. Bulletproof is trying to urge Cecil to, like, you've got to do something. It's going to kill him. And he's just getting wailed on by all of the Reanimen. Cecil eventually has this moment where he looks horrified and is like, what have I done? Like, he realizes that maybe he messed up and maybe there's not going to be any coming back from this. Tries to go back through the teleport door to tell D.A. Sinclair to, like, call off the Reanimen. And he's like, they're still brand new. It's going to take me like 5 minutes to do that. And Cecil's panicked, goes back through the door to check, and Mark is flying through a bunch of them, just covered in blood, cutting through a bunch of the Reanimen, like chopping them in half. And then there's like a beat of what seems like some calm, and Robot in his suit is like, I figured out what the frequency is and we found a way to block it. And Invincible is just bloody, holding his arm, staring at Cecil like he wants to murder him. And it's this, like, sort of terrifying, calm moment. And Cecil's just immediately like, okay, we're done here. Like, I'm leaving. Anybody who wants to quit, who doesn't like what we have to do to keep the world safe, go ahead and quit. As far as Invincible, you're fired. I'm never going to work with you again. I never would work with you again after what you pulled. I don't want to see you near me. And if I see you, I'm going to let the Reanimen finish you off next time.
What does Mark do?
He starts to walk away, and then Mark just says, I think he says at first, like, oh yeah, that's fine by me. I'm not going to work with you or whatever. And then says Cecil, and Cecil says, and turns around, and Mark flies against him, slams him against the wall, and gives the big speech, which I will read these panels because it's, the moment. If we're done, we're done. Get it? I don't want you in my life. I don't want you messing with me. Whatever I've been paid, whatever you've given us, it's mine. You stay away from my family. I don't want you talking to my mother. I don't want you coming to my house. Stay away from Oliver. If you try to recruit my little brother, I'll kill you. And then drops him on the ground. Like, and then immediately walks away and says, Robot, get this damn thing out of my ear. Like, and walks off towards him. Ugh. Just such a, I can hear Stephen Yeun and Walton Goggins giving this performance. And again, it's not a physical fight, but it is going to be an emotional, just back and forth,
Listen, if either one of them, I'm glad that, who's the actor that Angstrom Levy, that guy who
Sterling K. Brown?
Sterling K. Brown, yeah.
Yeah, so if Walter Goggin or Stephen Yeun don't get some sort of recognition this season from interactions like this, I just don't have faith in the system.
And what's, like, we're talking about how crazy this is. And we're also just got done saying that, yeah, this might be in like episode 3.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't going to be the big
Yeah.
thing this season. Like, it's
Exactly.
crazy. This
I
season.
think it's
Yeah.
going to be the penult. I think it's going to be
I
the mid-season finale.
that's what I had
That's
it
what I
as.
I mean, that's what I
Episode
mean.
4.
3, 4. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
even
But
the big fights.
even shows that don't do a break, the mid-season finale, like
Yeah.
think of like it was always like something big.
Yeah.
So I do think it's going to be episode 4. We'll
So
see.
after that, Mark is back. Mark is back at home. Debbie's there, Eve is there, Oliver's there. They're all kind of worried about what happened because they knew that he was planning to go and basically tell Cecil that he's quitting and he's all beat up now. So he kind of like calms them down and sits down to tell Debbie. And then it sort of jumps ahead in time a little bit where Eve is outside and Mark goes to talk to her. They have a cute little moment where they're just like making sure Debbie's okay now and that she's calmed down because she was getting ready to drive to the Pentagon herself to like give Cecil her mind or whatever. And Eve says this thing about like, did I tell you that your brother is awesome, by the way? Like they both just love Oliver, which like, that's great. I can't wait to see that of Oliver. And then Mark eventually says like, you know, when this was happening and I thought I was going to die, all I was thinking about was you. And like that means something and this is real. And so they kiss and he says, so you and me. And she says, you and me. And Oliver is
Perfect.
watching from the
Amazing.
window and says, gross. 'Cause he
Perfect
sees them.
mid-season finale.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's good. It's so good.
Mid-season finale. And then of course also I'll keep this part short, but it also has at long last the secret origin of Cecil Stedman
Yeah.
in the back of this issue. If that wasn't enough issue for you in issue 50, where it shows of course Cecil fighting against the freeing fist, the order of the freeing fist.
Yep.
He ends up getting scarred, of course, by the poison or the gas that they're releasing, leaves part of it as a reminder to the people that, you know, didn't make it out. And then it jumps ahead a bunch. We see the current director has like hired those two people that Cecil thought were dead to work for him and to help train superheroes. And this is where you start to see Cecil understanding that like to do this job, you have to be willing to work with people that you thought were monsters and were murderous people. And in order to, you know, actually protect the world, Cecil ends up killing the two of them, though, again, seemingly, and gets thrown in jail because of it. Eventually, the director once again pulls him out. We get some more time jumps where
But he says that I've gotten myself involved in a little side project. It's taking a
Yeah.
lot of my time.
yeah,
That's Rexplode.
yeah, exactly. Very cool. And then jumps kind of ahead to where we see Nolan on Earth in his early days, it seems, where Cecil first approaches him. They kind of like bring him into the fold to examine him, and then it's revealed after Nolan is leaving the Pentagon that like through everything they could do with lie detection, even though he is an alien and is technically inconclusive, they know that he's lying about Viltrum. They know that he's lying about where he came from and kind of what his intentions are. And Cecil's like, well, if I can use him right now, I'm going to. Even if I had to make a deal with the devil, I'll do that because that's my job. That's what I do. Like I protect the Earth.
That's my job.
Very cool stuff.
All right, I got 2 questions for you guys. As far as adapting this into the show, is it still the earpiece that Mark uses, that they put a frequency in that? Because in this, they implant something.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
can't take it out in the
take it out.
comic book. They say it's implanted, and so I wonder if
Because at one point, they say something where they put it in at one point when he was out and they were doing surgery on him or fixing him or
Yeah.
like, I forgot what that was. Because there
Yeah.
was at one point, like, say, for example, after Battle Beast messed him up and he was in the hospital, they did something.
Yeah.
But at that point, they didn't know. So,
Yeah, and they showed him take it out in season 2 enough that you can't just make the assumption that it's implanted. I think they'll either have to have some line if there is a bit of a time jump in between these and they have some line about
Yeah.
how it is implanted, or
He
it could
says-
be slightly different where it's just like a within the radius of Cecil. he's
Yeah, I
able
think
to
it's
make
just a
it the
device that he's going to
frequency.
Yeah,
have that
device.
mimics the sound of that creature from
I think it
I
could
like that.
from
be whatever they want it to be, like Wyatt said, within a line. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
That's like one. It could be whatever they want, and just
Yeah.
allude
Yeah.
to it
I'm just
long
curious to see-
beforehand, just to remind you.
since the Atlantis episode, he hasn't been knocked out and woken up, you know what I mean, in the hospital
Yeah.
bed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Has he? For them to
Not
be
that
able
I
to
can
implant that?
think of.
I don't think so either. Like Anissa, no. No.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. The second thing is, you know how after this fight, the team leave except for Immortal, I think it was Bulletproof and Shapesmith.
Yeah.
It would be really interesting if during the fight, those guys side with Cecil and they're trying to stop Invincible and the
And
other
it is
Guardians.
like a
So we
full-on
see some
Civil
Civil War
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
That would
that
be
would be
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Because yeah, it is basically just mentioned. It's mentioned kind of afterwards as Mark and Eve are talking, where he's like, "So what is everybody going to do?" And she kind of breaks down who's leaving and who still hasn't decided or whatnot.
But in that moment, like if Immortal or Bulletproof are there and they're like, "Yeah, you're my boss. You're
Yeah.
telling me to stop him. I'm stopping him."
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Would be cool. I'd be down
Guys.
for that. There's a lot reading that issue where I was like, I know they always change things and add things to the show. I can't think of what I even want changed about this because it's
Mhm.
so great. But that would be a cool one. That just kind of moving that up of seeing who's picking a side right there in the
Yeah.
moment, I think adds a lot of tension and could add some cool action to it too.
I'm so excited.
Good
Guys.
stuff.
Can't
All
wait.
right, I'm adding 50 to the list.
All right. I
Of
am
our
next.
issues that
I
we
got to
have
start
done.
picking. Odds are we'll be back in a month or less. Hopefully,
Yeah.
less. If not around a month. We'll probably do an episode before New York Comic Con. Given any other thoughts and everything, and I will be doing the next issue spotlight, so I have to start thinking about that. So that does it. Yeah.
Indeed.
Cool.
We did
Fun
it,
episode, guys.
We did another episode. I'm sure all of our predictions were right. Well, I guess
Yeah.
they all can't be right because we all had some different episodes. But either way, thank you again for joining us at the Invincible Podcast. Again, you can email us, invinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, all those other places. Subscribe on YouTube, always uploading fun videos. And then until next time, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So, this is mine. Like,
I like it.
Phil,
it's more for me. It's
Yeah.
more,
It makes
Yeah.
me so happy that you handwrite things. I don't know why.